The Chicago Sky once stood at the brink of a new era. All signs pointed to a sparkling future, especially when Angel Reese arrived on the scene promising to build a juggernaut that would dominate the WNBA. She spoke boldly about drawing big names to the Windy City, and her confidence had fans envisioning a swift rise back to championship form. But the moment free agency began, that dream went up in smoke. Every major player on the market turned away, leaving Chicago with nothing but questions. How did it all collapse so quickly? Before free agency kicked off, Angel Reese's voice echoed through the sports world. In interviews and social media rants, she declared that Chicago would become a superstar magnet. Given her status as a college sensation and the brand recognition she brought to the WNBA, many believed her. She was supposed to symbolize a new generation of players who attract fans, endorsements, and most importantly, top-tier talent. In Chicago, the hype was off the charts. After an underwhelming season, the Sky needed a spark, and Reese's ambitious proclamation felt like salvation. She hinted that she'd personally reached out to some of the best free agents, that she was pulling strings behind the scenes to form what she called the next great WNBA dynasty. Fans gushed over the possibility of pairing Reese with other all-stars, picturing it as a modern-day super squad. But behind the scenes, rumblings of doubt quietly brewed. When free agency officially opened, the basketball world anticipated a flurry of signings that would reshape the league. Sure enough, superstars found new homes or stayed put, but not in Chicago. One by one, the big names announced their decisions. Kelsey Plum, Jewell Loyd, Brittany Griner, Alyssa Thomas, Sadhu Sabali, and so many others all landed on rosters that already had stable front offices, cohesive locker rooms, and stronger track records of winning. For the Sky, the silence was deafening. As teams announced blockbuster trades and signings, Chicago's transaction list looked emptier than a vacant lot. Everyone waited for a headline that never arrived. The question on everyone's mind was clear. Where were Angel Reese's promised acquisitions? Instead of unveiling star-studded press conferences, the Sky's official announcements were minimal, short on impact, and downright underwhelming. What made it more painful was how quickly the no's piled up. Several free agents reportedly passed on the Sky within days of free agency's opening wave. Rumors spread that when these top-tier talents looked at Chicago's current roster, they saw a half-built puzzle with no clear strategy. Reese's phone calls and text messages apparently weren't enough to overcome the negatives swirling around the franchise. While Chicago floundered, rival teams capitalized. In Los Angeles, Kelsey Plum bolstered a Sparks team that already possessed quality coaching and a well-defined direction. Over in Las Vegas, Jewell Loyd, who ironically hails from Illinois, joined forces with another stacked roster. The message was unmistakable. Star players didn't just politely decline Chicago's offers. They chose to reinforce squads with legitimate championship aspirations. Brittany Griner's move to Atlanta turned the dream into an immediate threat. The Dream's front office welcomed her with open arms, celebrating the chance to pair her with other top-tier contributors. Meanwhile, Phoenix pulled off its own coups, bringing in Alyssa Thomas and Sadhu Sabali, turning the Mercury from an afterthought into a must-watch contender. Like dominoes, each major signing and trade left the remaining free agents with fewer and fewer reasons to pick Chicago. The momentum favored stable, well-managed franchises. Even those squads still in partial rebuilds, like the Indiana Fever, made bolder, more effective moves than the Sky, signing proven veterans and re-signing rising stars. Angel Reese's grand strategy to attract top-level partners fell flat the moment these players saw more promising opportunities elsewhere. So why did the city that once hosted a WNBA championship squad fail so spectacularly? According to whispers from the locker room, the environment is downright chaotic. Allegations surfaced that Angel Reese dominated the locker room culture to a point that ruffled many feathers. Though she's a double-double machine, rumors say her approach off the court hasn't been as team-oriented as the Sky had hoped. Reports suggest that the coach who initially believed in building around Reese quickly encountered conflicts. Some inside sources claim that management's attempts to cater to Reese's preferences alienated other key contributors, sowing discontent among veterans and younger players alike. Tensions escalated further when top scorer Kennedy Carter left. A statement from the front office seemed cordial, insisting they were simply moving in a new direction. Yet it did little to mask the underlying friction. Fans, meanwhile, are torn. Some remain staunchly loyal to Angel Reese, praising her competitive drive and the media spotlight she brings. Others worry that her presence only amplifies the front office's deeper issues. Is she truly the unstoppable force she claims to be, or just another sign of the team's inability to cultivate a healthy, winning atmosphere? It's not just the locker room that concerns incoming free agents. Chicago's infrastructure itself is lagging behind. While rival franchises boast state-of-the-art practice facilities, the Sky still rely on outdated resources that barely pass muster. Rumor has it the new facility won't be ready until 2026. And in professional sports, 3 years can be a lifetime. In a league that continues to grow, players want places where they can train on their own schedules. 3 a.m. shooting sessions, advanced rehab equipment, and top-notch performance technology. Teams like the Aces and Liberty have poured massive investments into ensuring players feel comfortable and supported year-round. By contrast, the Sky setup resembles a makeshift operation. Free agents hear these stories, and it affects their choices. In an ultra-competitive market, small details matter. All of this trickles into the broader team culture. A brand new coach or an overhauled roster can't hide the cracks in the foundation. While Angel Reese championed Chicago's vibrant fan base and big city appeal, it wasn't enough to eclipse fundamental shortcomings. Players looked around and saw instability, both structurally and culturally. The verdict was unanimous. Better options are out there. Another factor overshadowing Angel Reese is the league's true star power, Caitlin Clark. Clark's meteoric rise has stolen headlines and overshadowed much of the hype around Reese. Whenever Clark's team hits the court, arenas fill and TV ratings climb. Her collegiate heroics translated to a formidable following in the WNBA, something that's more than just numbers on a page. Angel Reese, on the other hand, hasn't delivered that same draw. Chicago's home games are sometimes lively, but attendance numbers hardly reflect a revolution. Fans hoping for a super team are left confused and frustrated, and turnstile counts remain unimpressive. People tune in to see top-level competition and charismatic matchups. Without big names joining her in Chicago, Reese's individual star power feels more like a flicker than a beacon. Then there's the Unrivaled League, a 3-on-3 initiative that was supposed to spotlight Reese's marketability in a smaller, faster-paced format. Contrary to the hype, it struggled to attract an audience beyond die-hard WNBA watchers. Early games drew fewer viewers than expected, and the minimal coverage suggested fans weren't as enchanted with Reese as her promoters believed. Critics highlight that without a deeper narrative or an established superstar roster, novelty leagues rarely hold the public's attention. Now the Sky are barreling into a new season with a roster that looks more uncertain than ever. Angel Reese has no choice but to prove she's as transformative on the court as she claimed. Gone are the illusions that top-tier free agents will materialize out of thin air. Instead, fans must wonder if Reese can elevate a ragtag group of role players and rookies into something competitive. Will this be the moment Reese finally steps up and justifies the hype? If she can average monstrous numbers while also galvanizing her teammates, maybe she can salvage the Sky's season. She might even rewrite the current narrative, forcing the league to acknowledge her as a legitimate franchise leader. But if the season goes as poorly as free agency did, the critics, and there are many, will only grow louder. Players who spurn Chicago will feel vindicated. The front office's missteps will come under even heavier scrutiny. And the fans who believed Reese's promises about building a super team may start to wonder if they were sold a pipe dream. In the bigger picture, this free agency disaster also highlights that no single player can reshape a franchise alone. Building a winning environment demands stability from top to bottom, wise executives, a consistent coaching staff, and the resources to keep athletes at their peak. In the end, the fate of the Chicago Sky rests on whether they can transform this negativity into motivation. Will Angel Reese become the transcendent star that flips the script, or will she fade into the background of a league that's moving forward without her? For now, the weight is squarely on her shoulders. But that isn't the entire story. As rosters settle and the season tips off, the spotlight will still be on the Windy City. Rival players and fans will watch, eager to see if Angel Reese can spin gold from what many call a roster of question marks. Maybe she'll prove everyone wrong. Or maybe she'll confirm that the hype train has been wildly off track. Whichever outcome arrives, it's bound to shake the WNBA landscape one way or another. And that's the lingering question. Has Chicago reached a breaking point? Or is there a hidden spark that could still ignite an unlikely rise to the top? Only time and the next wave of in-game action will tell. The WNBA's future is bright elsewhere. Teams like the Fever and the Aces have laid solid groundwork for dynasties, while Los Angeles and Atlanta stockpile all-stars. If the Sky want to join that list, they'll need more than words or hype. They'll need real vision, real leadership, and real investment. If Angel Reese and the front office can't deliver, we may be looking at a cautionary tale instead of a storybook comeback. One thing's certain, this season may be the most pivotal in Chicago's history. Every misstep will be magnified. Every success will be seized upon. The city that dared to dream of a super team might either rise from the ashes or watch everything crumble for good. Either way, brace yourself for the twists ahead because the journey is just beginning.